Hello friends and followers of the Pack Garage. Today I'm working on a antique safe, probably more than 100 years old. Let me introduce you to her. So this is the safe from the Victor Safe Company. It's got some, just right there, Victor. And on the knob it says patented. I don't know if we can make this out or not. I got it latched, but it says patented in 88, so definitely 1888. And then on this back plate of the lock, patented October 11th, 87, November 1st, 87, and June 16th of 91, all being 1891. This is not a 40-year-old safe, 35-year-old safe. It's a 135-year-old since it was patented. It's the inside of the safe. I bought it from a listing on Marketplace locally for $50. They didn't have, the combination wasn't working, and I managed to get it open and tried the combination. It was a little bit off, and there was some issues with the way that it worked. So what I'm going to do today is see if I can't get this working better. So as I did get it open, and then with a back off, I could get in there and take a look at what's going on. Let's see if we get a little bit more light in here. I'll get right up close on it. And as we spin the dial, knob on the outside, you can see the wheels turning. Well, one thing I noticed is, oops, I'm taking them out here. One thing I noticed is this bar that actuates the lock has a lot of play in it this way. So I've definitely got to open that up and figure out what's wrong with it. And then just the lock mechanism itself is a little bit loose. Sorry we had a little interruption there. Mrs. Pack Garage had to come out and see what I was doing. And so while I polished it, I took the time to hook up a light so we could see a little bit better what's going on here. So as I rotate the dial to the left, all the wheels are spinning, and I'll stop at the first number. Okay. No, that's good. Check. Yep, that's good. That dial that's closest to the wall of the safe, or furthest from this end, is lined up at this point with the bar here that needs to drop into place, and then spin it the other direction, and it starts picking up the wheels. And when it picks up the second one, you stop it at its location, and then switch directions again, going left, come around till it lines up the third wheel from the wall. And then last thing is swinging around to the right, and this gate drops in. And it's a little bit sluggish. I don't know if you can make that out, but as I came around, it kind of dragging, and it should drop all the way to there, so that then you can open the safe up now. Work that again. Right there. Pulls these bars, locking bars back. So, most of what I have to work on is getting this bar to sit properly. It's a little bit sloppy, and it seems like it's got some old sticky grease on it. So we'll get that fixed up, and I may open up the lock and see what I can do with it. It feels all right, but could be a little bit of drag on some of the wheels, and you want to make sure that it doesn't negatively influence how the safe opens up. So I'll get this one bar off and see what we can find out. So I got to take this screw loose here. Pull it out. And I'll set it on top. Oops. And then pull this off. And it's definitely got something that's got a tackiness to it. So some kind of lubricant that's been put on here that dried sticky. Yeah, I can feel it up in here. So, and there's, oh, this is part of this bar. So, yeah, the post is part of the actual bar there. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull this bar off also, because the same lubricant that's affecting this drop bar is also affecting this bar. So I'll go ahead and pull that off and see if I can get it loose. I'll set the tripod down here. Now I'll loosen it up and then we'll come back. So it looks like to get this lock slider bar out, I've got to get the lock assembly out of the way so I can pull this out far enough. So I'm going to have to work on this a little bit. I know I got to take these two screws off, and then there's a piece in there that needs to be removed. So let's see what I can do there. All right, so make this a little bit easier. I took the door off the safe, put it up on my workbench, and now got it where I can work on it and set all the parts out the side. So we've got these two flathead screws that go in there. This little cover plate, set that off to the side, and then this wheel lock, which locks that in position, or engages that. Oh, I guess that sticks down. That sticks down through, and that's where when the thing comes around, it trips on, catches on that. So from what I understand, I got to pop this out and just try to get into the light tap with the world's smallest hammer. Seems like it's a 2 ounce. And I'm gonna kind of cover up the shot a little bit just to hold this thing steady. Yeah, it's scooting out to one side. There we go. Pop that up, and then I believe what happens is this unscrews. There we go. So that comes off, and this side down, and that allows the handle to fall all the way out of the way. So I'm going to lay these parts out in order from here on out. Kind of upside down the way they need to go in. Oh. Next one, we've actually got like a snap ring in there holding this together. So I've got to find a way to pry that out without shaking the camera too much. There you go. Put that up. Work it around. Off she comes. So that's the next one. Set that off. And got a spacer. Brass spacer in there. And all this stuff is got some kind of sticky lubricant on there that's making everything kind of drag, if you will. So I'm definitely going to want to clean all this up and coat it with something that's not going to get hard. Yeah, and this, let's see, oh yeah, both of these spacers have a little notch in them that goes into the shaft. That's to help prevent the friction from dragging the wheels. So, and that's the last one there. Take that off. Then should be able to hopefully lift this up. Easier said than done. If I can just get it to pull up a little bit, I could work it all the way out of there. Might take a little off-camera inspiration to see if that'll cooperate. So I'm going to pause this for a little bit and see if I can get it loose. All right, so I was able to get it loose. What I had to do was stick a screwdriver under here between this little box that slides in and into this groove, and then tap back on the two bolt pins, and that gave it enough flex for it would lift up and come out. So we can get this cleaned up, get all this yucky grease out of here, and see if we can't make it function better. So I'm going to clean it up and see what we got. Give that a good wipe down. And should be good to go. Okay, so we're back. Got the parts cleaned up, ready to put back in. I'm going to line this bar up, those holes in there, and then give it a tap with my 4-ounce hammer. There we go. Dropped into position. Still a little bit loose. Going to work a little bit of grease up under the sliding area in here, and then around these pins where they pass through. Get them coated a little bit. There we go. Slides nicely. Now I'm going to start putting the parts of the lock back together again. Put a little grease on the I guess you call it the axle here. All the parts rotate on it. Nice and smooth. Then we got one of these bushings with the little tab in it. Goes in that groove. Give this a coat. Top and bottom. And our next wheel. Next bushing. it up on both sides. Line a little tab up, put that in. Crease that. Next wheel. Oh, got one of these little doohickeys is loose. That'd be bad if that fell off, so I'm gonna tighten this up while I got the chance to do it. Check on the other side. It's good and tight. Alright. And make sure I get this the right direction. And there. Then the snap ring. I misplaced my little screwdriver there. Part of the way. Sure runs down, sits flush. Ooh. Make sure all these parts spin to the axle and to the parts they're rubbing against. That feels good now. Then we got this one. Goes on, it's got the threads on it. Slot there, so let's see if we can get this started. Started without cross-threading it. Let me prop the door up so I can see how much. Now, if you try to go there, it's going to be too tight, so I have to set it right there. If I run it back here, it's sloppy loose. I can't get a full to the next turn, so I'm just going to stop it right on that slot there. See, we got this little plate that gets driven in there. Use my 4-ounce ball peen hammer. Spin this around to the side here. Use a screwdriver to drive it in. Make sure it's flush so the cap can go on it. Now let's see. Better hold down with the 4 and tap with the 2. There we go. So now I got that nice flat there. And there's 2 more things. One is this piece, and depending on where I set this, that's going to affect my combination. So I'm going to put it in temporarily one spot and then see how it goes from there. And let's see. This little cap over it, and there's 2 flat slotted machine screws in their holes. There we go. So now we've got a nice running lock mechanism. And need to still need to clean up this this little bar, but that'll get cleaned up and go back on there, and hopefully the alignment will be good. I'll see if I can straighten it up a little bit. I don't know if it's bent, or there was a washer I found in there that may be needed to make it function properly. So I'll do a little bit more cleaning off camera, and then we'll put it together and see what we got for combination. Okay, so I hope this camera angle works. So I've got the camera focused on the 4 wheels of the dial and safe, and I'm turning the handle counterclockwise, or what they call to the left. So what you're going to want to do is bring it around, and that innermost wheel is the first one that's going to stop. The outermost wheel is the last one that's going to stop when you change direction. So you want to bring that innermost wheel around to where it just starts to line up. And I don't know if the camera angle's good, but that slot right there in the wheel is underneath that drop bar. So I'm going to record that number, and then I'm going to change directions, going to the right or clockwise, and the outer wheel's going to turn, and it's going to pick up the next one, and then finally it'll pick up the third one. And bring that around to a location where it lines up with the other one, and I'll record that number. Then I'm going to change directions, come back again to the left, counterclockwise. This wheel's going to move, picks up the next one, and it comes around and it lines up. And I record that number. And then turn the handle the other direction, and that drops into place and opens the safe. So that's it, that worked. And as soon as we turn the handle now back to the left, it's going to lock it, and when it gets in the lock position, it's going to release that, lift that bar up, and start picking up the wheels as it goes around. So, seemed like it did pretty good. It feels nice and smooth now. There's very little play in the, at least axial play in the dial. So that's nice and clean. The bar seems to be dropping into place. Really well on its own. We'll line these up again. Find the best spot for that. So, yeah, that drops down, moves freely, drops down into place like it should. So I'll go ahead, I'll work off camera and refine the combination a little bit, but that completes the part of the lock build of the safe. It's, get the camera mobile again. It's in kind of rough shape. I spent some time scraping the paint. It was a coat of black paint all over the door, and I was able to remove that paint and find the actual, most of the original lettering. Some of it's been damaged over the years, but the Victor Safe and Lock Company, Cincinnati, Ohio. and a Victor patent. That's what's on the top of all their safes. And a lot of times this bar right here would have the name of the person who was the owner of the safe also in that script. So I'm going to see if I scrape that away and find any of that. Still trying to figure out, you know, what would be a nice finish for this, but I'm going to get it cleaned up. Going to try and preserve this door if I can. Maybe just coat it with some clear and preserve some of that pinstriping and lettering for the antique look. And then the rest of it, just kind of take it as it goes, depending on what shape it's in. I may have to sand a lot off to make it look good. And I'm not sure if I'm going to paint it black again or give it some kind of antique finish. So anyways, hope you all enjoyed the video, and we'll see you next time at the Pack Garage.